My mother has an incredibly compassionate heart. She roams the town with bags of food, offering help to anyone who appears to be in need, and she's always ready to extend a hand to those facing a tough life. I remember one instance when she even invited a homeless woman into our house. My mom went above and beyond, washing the woman's hair, doing her nails, and even covering the cost of dental work, paying $5,000 for her teeth to be fixed. It's as if my mom can't resist the urge to care for those who seem to have a difficult time. My dad, on the other hand, doesn't mind my mom's charitable acts towards the homeless. He earns enough to support a small village, and he admires my mom's kind-heartedness. However, there came a day when something incredibly risky occurred. My mom spotted a single mother with her 2 daughters beneath a bridge near a train station. She promptly stopped the car, and I couldn't help but groan inwardly thinking, "Oh Mom, not again." The single mother had a deeply troubled expression, and it seemed like she might become hostile before my mom managed to soothe her. My mom's kindness led her to invite the family to stay with us for the entire weekend. To make matters more challenging, the 2 girls had to share my room during their visit. When they eventually departed, I was relieved, thinking we could finally return to our normal lives. However, during the following days, my entire family fell seriously ill, and it became apparent that we had contracted a virus from our guests. Tensions ran high, and we had a major argument. My dad made my mom promise that she would never again bring homeless individuals into our home. Still, one night, as we were driving, we spotted a young boy walking alone in summer clothing despite the cold weather. My mom couldn't ignore her instincts and insisted that we stop to see where he was headed. Despite our pleas, she remained resolute. In a matter of minutes, the boy was sitting in our car, ready to come home with us. He sat quietly, avoiding eye contact with anyone, creating a sense of unease in the car. When we arrived home, the boy devoured 4 hearty plates of dinner, and my mom made a bed for him on the couch. It turned out to be his first experience sleeping in a real bed, which struck me as surprising. Later that night, as I headed to the bathroom, I bumped into him. He whispered a brief apology, but I met his gaze firmly and warned, "Try anything funny with me or my parents, and you'll spend the rest of your life in jail." His gaze dropped to the floor, and he retreated to the couch without further incident. The next morning, I woke up later than expected, assuming he would have left by then. To my shock, I found him in the kitchen, assisting my mom in baking a cake. Enraged, I confronted him, demanding that he leave our house immediately, threatening to call the police. The boy appeared frightened and began packing his belongings. However, my mom intervened, asking him where he thought he was going and reminding me that she was the head of the household. There was a moment of silence, and then I heard him whisper, "Thank you, Mommy." She responded with a smile and embraced him. In response to my outburst, she grounded me to my room for the rest of the day. During lunch, Evan sat next to my mom and held her hand throughout the meal. This time, he couldn't stop talking. He shared that his mother was an alcoholic, and he didn't know who his father was. He claimed to have run away from home due to abuse, though I had my doubts about the veracity of his story. The following day, my mom decided it would be a great idea for Evan to accompany me to school. I had no say in the matter. At school, Evan struggled to fit in and exhibited odd behavior. He seemed afraid of everything and everyone, constantly shadowing my every move. He even asked to hold my hand, a request I firmly refused. During recess, he tried to sit next to me, but that's when I couldn't handle it anymore and told him to leave in front of everyone. Evan chose to sit at the table adjacent to mine, quietly enjoying his meal. After some time, my boyfriend approached to say hello. I playfully greeted him as a stranger, and in a light-hearted moment, he kissed me. However, things took an unexpected turn when Evan, thinking my boyfriend was genuinely a stranger who had grabbed me without my consent, lunged at him. He forcefully pushed my boyfriend to the ground and began to pummel him. I intervened, shouting, "Are you crazy?" Evan's misunderstanding of the situation had led to this violent outburst. It was baffling to witness his reaction. The incident resulted in my mother having to visit the principal's office, and Evan was suspended from school for 2 weeks. It had only been a single day, and he had already gotten into trouble. My mom seized the opportunity to deliver a stern lecture on the way home, making it clear that if he was going to live in our house, he would have to abide by her rules. Evan responded with a respectful "Yes, ma'am." I couldn't help but wonder about my mom's decision to have Evan live with us despite his actions. It seemed a bit irrational to me. She even went so far as to provide him with his own room and accompanied him on a shopping trip to ensure he had new clothes. Following Evan's suspension, my mom became actively involved in his school activities to prevent further misconduct. She spoke with the principal and arranged for Evan to participate in various after-school groups. In just a few weeks, Evan displayed remarkable progress. He excelled in his exams and soon became the captain of both the math and science clubs. My parents took great pride in his achievements, and we celebrated his success with a fancy dinner at a restaurant. Gradually, I began to develop a genuine fondness for Evan. He exhibited kindness, modesty, and patience, and I could finally see the qualities that had initially drawn my mother to him. As we raised our glasses for a champagne toast, my father warmly welcomed Evan into the family. However, during our celebration at the restaurant, an unexpected encounter unfolded. A man with a gold chain and a bandana approached our table, addressing Evan with surprise. "Evan, fancy seeing you here." Evan's reaction was frozen in place. The man lifted his shirt to reveal a gun tucked into his pants, sending a shiver down our spines. He accused my mother of owing him money and issued a threat. If she didn't pay up within 48 hours, he would come to our new house to collect. It was a harsh reminder that our newfound peace might have been too good to be true. Evan's connection with trouble was becoming increasingly evident. At midnight that same night, a loud bang reverberated from our front door, accompanied by a woman's anguished cries and sobs. My dad rushed downstairs to investigate, and there stood Evan's mother, frantic and demanding the return of her son. Evan, who had followed my dad to the door, tried to calm his distressed mother down. She appeared deeply troubled, with disheveled hair and dark circles under her eyes. My dad inquired if Evan had any money to give her, and even shook his head. Evan's mother pleaded for money, and my dad handed her $1,000, but she continued to insist on more. At that moment, Evan intervened, advising my dad not to give her any additional funds. He then firmly escorted his mother out of the house. Following this incident, my parents initiated legal proceedings to adopt Evan. The court deemed Evan's mother unfit, and he officially became my brother. Evan started to build friendships at school, even attempting to forge a bond with Aaron, my boyfriend. Things appeared to be progressing positively until one fateful night when I overheard my parents talking quietly in their room. My dad mentioned that $50,000 was missing from the safe. When they went to check on Evan, they discovered that he was gone, and his neatly made bed remained as the only evidence of his absence. Evan left a note behind, expressing his gratitude with the words, "Thank you for everything. Goodbye, Evan." My mother was heartbroken, and we knew that Evan would never simply steal from us and disappear. Determined to unravel the mystery, we decided to visit his mother's house to understand the situation better. Upon our arrival, we found the same man who had approached us at the restaurant a few months earlier sitting outside her residence. He greeted my mom with a sinister air, thanking her for the money she had been sending them over the past few months. My mother stormed past him, repeatedly calling out for Evan. Evan's mother opened the door to their one-bedroom house, appearing thoroughly intoxicated. She vehemently demanded that my mom leave her son alone, asserting that Evan was her son now, and she wanted him to stay with her. The man, however, dismissed my mother's pleas, asserting that Evan had been using her for money all along. He claimed that Evan had been sending him money regularly and that he was living with him once more. My mother, devastated and upset, promptly contacted the police to investigate the situation. That very night, we heard glass breaking downstairs, followed by 2 gunshots and the screeching of tires in our driveway. My dad discovered a chilling note that read, "Leave Evan alone. Don't call the police or the next shot will be for you." Though we were filled with fear, we were not ready to give up on Evan. We began devising a plan to navigate this ominous threat. My parents initiated a search for a new home in a different city as part of our strategy to protect Evan and ensure his safety. With our flight booked and all necessary arrangements in place, the final step was to safely extract Evan from his current living situation. The plan involved waiting outside his mother's house until the opportune moment to take him without drawing attention. So at 6 a.m., we all gathered in the car and waited patiently for Evan to make his move. Hours passed and it was nearly noon, which was unusual as Evan typically left the house earlier. Finally, we spotted the door opening and Evan emerged from the house, accompanied by his mother. They both got into their car and Evan took the wheel. My dad followed them discreetly. Their first stop was at a gas station, where they entered a 7-Eleven store and emerged with bags that appeared to be filled with liquor bottles. It was evident that Evan's mother had a significant drinking problem. I wished I could call out to Evan, urging him to come with us, but circumstances dictated otherwise. Witnessing him in this state filled me with a profound mix of sadness and anger. After their brief stop, Evan and his mother resumed their journey, with my dad doggedly trailing them. The drive was an extensive one this time, lasting about an hour, until they arrived in a neighborhood that appeared to be quite dangerous, resembling a ghetto. It seemed even more perilous than where Evan had been living. They parked the car near a substantial house, surrounded by people who had a menacing demeanor and a constant flow of visitors. Loud music emanated from the house, suggesting a raucous party within. Evan's mother exited the car and headed into the house. Evan lingered at the entrance for a while before finally opening the door. This was our moment to act. My dad accelerated and stopped the car near Evan's vehicle. I quickly opened the back door and embraced Evan tightly as my dad sped away. Tears streamed down my face as I held my brother close, overwhelmed with relief that he was now with us and out of harm's way. Evan appeared stunned, unable to convey his emotions in words. He was rendered speechless by the sudden turn of events. My parents proceeded to explain to him that we had made all the necessary arrangements and that we were en route to the airport to leave the state, allowing us to embark on a fresh start free from any lingering danger. I eagerly awaited Evan's reaction, but what followed was completely unexpected. Suddenly, Evan erupted into a fit of screams, his outburst nothing like the brother I knew. He hurled ugly insults at my parents, accusing us of being foolish for not realizing that it had all been an act, claiming that he had only been in it for the money, and insisting that he truly loved his mother. It happened so rapidly that I couldn't even react, and before I knew it, Evan had opened the back seat door and leaped out of the car. He tumbled to the ground, and I feared he might be injured, but he swiftly got up and began running in the opposite direction. That was the last time I ever saw him. As for my mom, she was subsequently prohibited from having anyone over to our house, including her friends, as a result of the tumultuous events that had unfolded.